Assalamu alaikum. I just want to congratulate all recent graduates. Today marks a significant milestone in your lives, a day of celebration, reflection, and anticipation for what lies ahead. Your journey has been filled with all challenges and triumphs, and through it all, you have shown resilience, adaptability, and unwavering commitment to your goals. As you move forward, I want you to remember that your education is not about the knowledge that you've gained, but it's also about the person you've become. I want you to embrace new opportunities, seek out new experiences, and don't be afraid to take risks. Success is measured by the impact you have on others and the difference you make on your community. Strive to be kind, compassionate, and to give back. And I want to congratulate each and every one of you to go forward with confidence, passion, purpose. The future is yours to shape. Thank you. Now I want to move forward
Nia.
in Nia Umar.
جزاك الله خير عبد الرشيد. Nia, mic Nishin.
Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, we are so proud of the graduates we are acknowledging and celebrating today. May Allah help them in achieving their goals, inshallah. Their dedication, hard work, and achievements are truly inspiring to us all. And now I am deeply honored to have the privilege of introducing our first speaker today. Nabila is a lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia for Novelists Incorporated, a world-leading company in aluminum rolling and recycling. Before joining Novelists, Nabila was an attorney for Axiom Global, supporting the employment matters of large corporations. Prior to that, she worked for an employment boutique law firm and a large full-service firm, providing labor and employment counsel, investigation support, and other legal support to large corporations. She holds a bachelor's degree in advertising with a concentration in business foundations from the University of Texas at Austin and received her law degree from the Wake Forest University School of Law. Without further ado, Nabila Abdul Hafiz.
Nabila, mic غاش كيفاش تسمومي.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you
Sorry.
very much, Nabila.
Thank you, Nia. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Asho Gaysanan, so I'm going to speak in English. So sorry. But anyway, first, I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you and your families on your accomplishments and this great achievement. Whether you're graduating from high school, college, or graduate school, this is a tremendous achievement. And I'm sure everyone is so proud of you. What I'd like to offer to all of you today is the meaning of success. I'll start by sharing one of my favorite quotes about success that I think will be applicable to you as you begin the next phases of your life. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Maya Angelou said this. I think a lot of times we find ourselves in different sorts of races or different scrambles, and we find ourselves scrambling for something, but we're not always aware of why we're doing it. I've always been a person who made sure that I do what I want, of course, within reason, because there has to be a level of discipline that I have to achieve what I want. But all of these things that we find ourselves chasing, whether it's a certain degree, a certain job, a certain status, a certain lifestyle, I commonly find that we don't know why we're chasing them. In some instances, it's because it's what our parents want us to do. In other instances, maybe it's because we've been influenced by what our peers or our neighbors, classmates, or other people in the community are doing. Or maybe we saw somebody on TikTok that we thought was doing something pretty cool and now we want to do it too. Although our parents want the best for us, or whatever it is the influencer on TikTok is doing looks super cool, when you start doing it because they are doing it or somebody else is doing it, this is when I feel like you enter into a danger zone for yourself and you have to be careful. As I fell into the race of practicing law and building my career, I started to realize that the things that I was participating in, whether it be for the state bar organization or the broader legal community, I started to realize that the career aspirations I had were not my own. Even more puzzling, I couldn't quite figure out what my career aspirations. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. even more puzzling, I couldn't figure out what my career aspirations were. Yes, I'm a lawyer, which is something that I do want to do and what I've been wanting to do for a very long time. But now that I became a lawyer, my next question was, well, now what? What are my next steps? What do I want to do with this? I had a job, which was great, but I just wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go next. I was volunteering in a lot of programs that looked great on paper, on my resume, but these things didn't really matter to me and they didn't really interest me. I also was working crazy hours and I thought I had to be successful at work. And in the legal field, when you work at a law firm, you do have to work crazy hours because you want to be appealing and you want to look good in front of your bosses and the partners and the people who run the law firm. And many lawyers tend to do this so that they could move up in the career ladder to higher status roles, have more power, have more money at their law firms. And in addition to this, what they'll do is they'll over-involve themselves in voluntary roles in the community just because it looks good, despite being totally burnt out at work. Volunteering is great, but I highly urge you to find something that you care about to actually volunteer and something that you care about. Because when you commit to these things, you're working so hard at work. And in my field, people are becoming sleep deprived. They're not exercising. They're not taking care of their mental health. And quite frankly, they're miserable. And so I found myself falling into this loop. And just because other lawyers were doing these things, I thought I had to do these things. And I thought it would be in the best interest of my career for me to do this. And what I learned pretty quickly was that it wasn't. In one of my groups, I was invited to plan an annual gala. And I said yes, because I thought it would be great networking. And I thought it would be great to say that I'd planned this big, large, glamorous event. But as I fell into the committee work, I realized I dreaded everything having to do with this gala. I didn't like planning it. I didn't want to go to the meetings. The tasks were boring me. And I just had other things to worry about, like my real job. And so I was like, why am I doing this? How is this helping me? How is it helping my career? Is this adding value to my life? I couldn't figure out why I needed to do these things to impact my career or why I thought that they would impact my career. Then I was asking myself, why am I working crazy hours? Why am I striving to go all in like this? And I know that other lawyers were doing it because they wanted to be partners and they wanted to have power at their firms. I didn't necessarily want that. They were participating in these planning committees because they wanted to be elected to an officer or leadership position in these organizations. And I determined that that's not something that I really was interested in. At this stage in my life, from the outside looking in, though, one might think that I was successful, but I just didn't feel it for myself. I was just making the motions, it felt like. And so I started to seriously reflect on what my career aspirations were and what was important to me. And I realized I'm only doing these things because other people have placed importance on these things in my field, and that was based on what they wanted to do. So it wasn't until I started to shift the focus onto things that were important to me and what mattered to me that I started to feel successful. If you ever find yourself here, if you ever find that you're doing something and you're not sure why you're doing it, there are 3 things I'll leave you with that may help guide you to figure out why or where to end up or how to end up in a place of success. The first thing I'll say is know when to say no. Before you commit to a project, a job, a social event even, check in with yourself and make sure it's something that you care about and that makes you happy. Stop people pleasing and you'll be a lot less stressed. After participating in the gala planning committee, I never participated again. I had been asked, I have been invited, but I've come to the conclusion that pouring my extra time and energy into something that I have no passion in is not beneficial to me. And I realized I needed to start prioritizing myself to get to where I needed to be. So I stopped joining programs that didn't interest me. I stopped volunteering myself for efforts that didn't motivate me or what I wasn't passionate about. This allowed me to focus on things that did matter to me. I became involved in an Ethiopian and Eritrean professionals group that better suited my needs. This also allowed me to reshift my career goals I determined I didn't want to work at a law firm anymore. I wanted to do something else in the law, and still be a lawyer, but I just didn't want to work at a law firm. And working at a law firm has its perks. They pay you a whole lot more. It comes with a lot of status, but just those weren't the things that I was in search of. I determined that I wanted to be a lawyer, but for one company, and work in-house in the company, and that would be my only client for a better pace of life. This will bring me to my next point, which is don't chase the money. I'm not saying that money is not important or beneficial, but be careful how you get it and be sure it doesn't take a toll on your well-being, or, I mean, to the extent that you can control, or make sure you don't sacrifice yourself as a person just to make a lot of money. I stopped working at law firms with people that I had nothing in common with and people that I did not feel I could be myself around, my whole self. And of course, you have to have like a limited self in the office, right? But I still couldn't even be that limited version of myself around all of these other people in the firms that I was working at. So I've been at my current job for 3 years. I'm very happy there. When I was interviewing for this job, I was interviewing with many other companies and I ended up with multiple offers. But in the end, I didn't choose the company that offered me the most money. I chose the company that I felt that I fit in the best. And based on the people that I spoke with during the interview process, I chose the place that would allow me to explore my interests, where I felt genuine vibes that these people would respect me for who I am and respect my differences. And finally, my last piece of advice is to prioritize and plan well. Don't leave things to the last minute. It happens to all of us. It's happened to me, but I feel like I learned enough in college not to do that, that to this day, it's very rare that I leave things to the last minute. I feel that if you're prepared well in advance, you eliminate stress, you allow the opportunity for you to be more in the moment of the activities that you're participating in, and it's just overall a better situation. And for the record, if you're curious, what I really determined that was important to me are these things: doing what interests me, making good money from my interests, working with good people in healthy and non-toxic environments, doing meaningful work, and having reasonable autonomy over my work and my time. Since I've focused on attaining these things, my quality of life has only improved. I feel more at ease than I've ever felt. I feel more motivated than I've ever felt. And the money that I could have received from other companies or other firms has eventually come from the company that I chose that worked best for me. And so I'll leave you with my second favorite quote about success, which is this: I want to define success by redefining it. For me, it isn't that solely mythical definition: glamour, allure, power of wealth, and the privilege from care. Any definition of success should be personal because it's so transitory. It's about shaping my own destiny. And Anita Roddick stated that. So I implore you to think about the following things. How will you shape your destiny? Who are you? What matters to you? Pursue that, figure out how to make that profitable, and focus on surrounding yourself with people who respect you for who you are. If you start with those things, I don't think you can go wrong with that. Thank you.